4 noughts in his first 4 innings in Test cricket.
And he's got him, I think, with his very first ball in Test cricket.
Sachin Tendulkar, God created a different mold for him. After creating that mold, God has scrapped that mold.
When you talk about Mumbai spinners, do you think all of y'all were superseded by Sachin Tendulkar as a spinner from Mumbai?
They used to say that it's easy to get into Indian team but very difficult to get into Mumbai team. The only expectation when you start the season in a Mumbai dressing room, the least expectation is to win the championship.
Mumbai cricketers have this certain lobbying. Mumbai cricketers get away with it because you have the commentators on their side like Sanjay Manjrekar, Sunil Gavaskar saying all the right things. And
Rohit Sharma's contribution now, he changed the dynamics. We are going for wins. He's backing.
But wasn't that Virat Kohli? Sorry, wasn't that Virat Kohli in terms of the fitness regime as well? You actually are in the worst 10 strike rates ever in Test match history. Right, earlier this year, we all saw the West Indian space sensation Shamar Joseph pocket a first Test wicket in Steve Smith. So then we thought, let's find the Indian who do that. And then we realized that there's only one man who's done it. And this man is one of Maharashtra's finest. He comes from Dombivli. He's taken multiple trains to, of course, hone his skills as a cricketer. And then he's gone on to play for India. How many times? Well, he's played 3 tests and he's played 10 ODIs, 6 against Pakistan, which we'll talk about. And he's seen some crazy feats, including Harbhajan taking 15 in a test, Dravid bowling 6 overs against Kenya and Gwalior, and of course, the small matter of Ganguly's 5-16 in Toronto as well. This man has seen it all. He's a Ranji legend. He's won it 7 times. He's played over 100 first-class games, and he's thrown down 24,000 balls plus in his career. What else are we waiting for? This man describes himself, let me remind you, as a failed cricketer, and he says that his career went like the Sensex. Let me just, of course, avoid anything else and introduce Mr. Nilesh Kulkarni. Great to unwind with you this afternoon, sir. How are you in Mumbai?
I am good. How are you? It was wonderful, elaborative introduction, and probably after a long time, I'm hearing a different introduction of mine. Thank you for that elaborative introduction.
I was going to actually add that you have some international victims list, sir. Let me just read them out for the viewers. Matthew Hayden comes to mind, Sarat Jayasuriya, Saeed Anwar, you got Shahid Afridi thrice, Arvinda De Silva, Rana Tunga. It's incredible. But Marvin Atapadu stands out the most because we all know why. So can you explain that story first for all the uninitiated?
I remember the incident, because India had posted some 550 plus runs and Sachin was the captain, declared the innings. He thought that let's 15 overs left. Let's try and get a couple of wickets before the end of the day's play. And as luck would have it, I was making my debut. So we had Abhi Kuruvilla, Venkatesh Prasad, Anil Kumble and Rajesh Shaw, and probably more experience and veterans into this space. They got the preference to bowl first. But the luck would have it, I think it was some 2.5 minutes left at the last over. I was just crossing my mark. And Marwan Atapattu had taken a run and Rajesh Chauhan was to bowl that last over. But for some reason, I'm grateful to Sachin Tendulkar, who thought at that point of time and asked me, Nilesh, come, bowl the last over. As I was giving my cap to the umpire, who was the Australian umpire, he said, Nilesh, you've got 30 seconds left for you to bowl the first ball. So, generally what happens is a lot of cricketers will relate to that. A captain gives you some sort of an indication that warm it up, be more relaxed before you bowl the first over. I had none of this. I had 30 seconds to bowl my first ball. As I was trying to do a little bit of stretch, the umpire looked back and said, Nilesh, 10 seconds left, bowl the first ball. So there was no thought in my mind. I only felt, and in my mind I had prepared, do not embarrass yourself when you're bowling the first ball. As luck would have it, it came out very nicely from my hand. Marwan Atapattu was in an aggressive mode. He went for an expansive drive. He nicked it, and then Mongia took that catch. In fact, if you see that video now, he could have been stumped also because he had walked out of the crease. So that was something for me. It was great moment. But I had no idea that it was part of a world record. Well, the second part of that is that for the next 3 days, I did not get a second wicket. I was trying hard. I bowled more than 70 overs. But Sri Lanka managed to score 952 runs, and that's also part of a record.
Indeed. I don't want to do you a disservice and tell you one more crazy record, which is not going to sit well with you or your fans or your family, but you actually are in the worst 10 strike rates ever in Test match history.
I know, because I played all the matches which I had played were on a flat track. And obviously, when you bowl 72 overs and just get 1 wicket for 192 runs, your strike rate is going to go for a toss.
Indeed. But look, Kumble is part of that list. And of course, your good old friend Rajesh Chauhan, who participated in that Test match, is also part of that list. So look, we'll cut you some slack, but we'll also kind of tell the viewers about not just the good Test debut, but the ODI debut that you had. You got Jayasuriya out there. Talk about matchups in this modern era. You got all those great left-handers out. Getting Sanath Jayasuriya and Saeed Anwar and all these great lefties was just, I don't know, breakfast with you, I guess.
Well, I wish I had. And that's why I always call myself failed cricketer, because I believe that I had the potential and I could not do the justice to my talent which I had. That's why, sometimes it's always good when you play sport. Acceptance is one of the key attributes which you should have in your life. And I've learned the hard way to make sure that you start accepting that you probably had it, but you couldn't achieve it. And there's no harm in accepting those things. But talking about Jayasuriya, I remember that, in those days, we used to play with the red ball in a 50-over format. And when I was introduced to bowl, it was into those 15 overs power play. And Sanath Jayasuriya was just going nuts. He was not allowing any bowler to land that ball. He would just go out and start smashing it. And I was making my debut, obviously, in that one day. He was, I think, Sri Lanka had scored some 80, 90 runs before I came on to bowl, 13th over. I think 13th over, if I'm not wrong. And he was in the mood of just smacking me all over. As luck would have it, he stepped out and I managed to bowl a fuller length. So he could not get the elevation, and Navjot Singh Sidhu took a good catch at mid-on or mid-off, one of the plays. I think mid-off. He took a good catch. He wanted to go over that, but he could not do it. And when I actually look back, I'm like, great. I mean, I could at least get Sanath Jayasuriya, Saeed Anwar, Matthew Hayden, Arjuna Ranatunga as left-handers. Not a bad list to have on the CV.
Just looking back at your career, I mean, you played just a handful of games. Which game really sticks with you, sir, even till today, barring that first one that we just spoke about?
At the top of the range, according to me, that 2001 Test match which I played, where India actually managed to win the Test series, for me that stays right up, because to be part of that moment is great, satisfying thing for every cricketer who dreamed to play for India. But to win a series like that, where India was one down and then 1-1, and the last series was a decider for Steve Waugh, who had a great run home and away both places. And I remember one word. I was the last man left before Harbhajan and Samir Dige scored those runs. Chennai, though in those days it was Madras crowd. They're very intelligent people. They follow Test match cricket to the T. And I heard in those days they only had a filter on the side of the dressing room. And from the members' enclosure, a lot of people started saying, Nilesh, don't repeat the tie test which happened actually at the same venue. For me, that was the best moment for me as a cricketer.
I just want to ask you a few things in that, because I think you've gone on record saying Gabba, the win that we achieved not too long ago, was better than the Kolkata 2001. Can you explain that for the fans and me?
I agree. From a cricketing logic point of view, I still stand by that statement, because in that particular series and that Test match, we had a lot of people with great experience playing in that Test match. Vis-a-vis into that Gabba Test and the series win in Australia, for me, India was almost down and out. Virat Kohli was not there. India was playing with a lot of injured players. Experience was less. Plus, playing away in Australia with their formidable batting lineup, to get them out 2 times in innings was a huge challenge. And for me, that's why I consider that Test series probably the greatest Test series win India has ever had, with all the youngsters, with so many injured players. I think for me, that's a great Test series win for India.
Yeah, arguably both of those stand in the pantheon of great Test wins we've enjoyed as a nation. And what are the Aussies like when you kind of take them on? What's your expectations, your hopes, your concerns as an Indian fan this time around, sir?
I think things have changed a lot from the time I played to now. India started giving back, and credit to one captain, Saurav Ganguly, who actually led it from the front and started taking Aussies head on. I think that changed the perspective, because Aussies are not very easily, be taken a back seat. They always play on the front foot. They go head on. They start, giving you a bit of a banters, and to be able to fight, shoulder to shoulder, taking them head on and challenging them, pushing them in the corner. I think India has evolved hugely. Credit to Saurav Ganguly, the way he started, and then from Virat Kohli's to Ajinkya Rahane's to Rohit Sharma now, India as a unit, even the Australians are little worried about, because India gives them back. India rubs the shoulders in the same manner with them and take them head on as well. So I think that's a great sign for India context. But that particular Border Gavaskar trophy is on par with Ashes, according to me. And the beauty was that this is how hard they play. This is how they challenge you. And if you give it back, they are the first one to appreciate and acknowledge you. That's a great sign of what to learn from them.
Yeah, and that's a key thing from any Australian sportsmen or women. They play hard, but they play fair, and they get the best out of you. All the competitive juices flowing. When you talk about Mumbai spinners, do you think all of y'all were superseded by Sachin Tendulkar as a spinner from Mumbai?
Well, I'm telling you, according to me, Sachin Tendulkar as a cricketer and as an individual, God created a different mold for him. After creating that mold, God has scrapped that mold. So that's why he falls into a different space altogether. He can do anything and everything. He's an absolute champion, as a legend, we all know. But he's a thorough gentleman. The values, the ethics, the practices, the intensity, all these attributes actually reflects his 24 years of successful career for India. For me, that's the greatest learning. So what he brings on the table, what he shares, from wickets to sharing insights, analyzing opponents, giving you that valuable insight what you should do at that particular time. He thinks far ahead with few steps before we can actually start preparing ourselves. So for me, the achievement what he has got as a bowler, sometime I feel it is undone, because he probably had much more than what we all thought of.
Indeed. I mean, there's so many Sachin wickets I can remember at the top of my head as an Indian fan. We've seen it with Sachin, and he's just been brilliant. I just want to ask you, sir, about your good old Mumbai days, Ranji Trophy a little bit. Mumbai cricket and the struggles, it goes hand in hand. And no wonder Mumbai produces some of the hardest cricketers we've ever seen and produced. And it's almost that attitude like, over my dead body and I'm not going to get out. Can you just encapsulate what you went through as a Mumbai cricketer in the 90s and how it's changed over the years?
Even before 90s, from the time it started in Mumbai cricket, the culture in Mumbai cricket is to never give up. There are so many people competing for that one spot in Mumbai team. In those days, they used to say that it's easy to get into Indian team, but very difficult to get into Mumbai team. That was a statement made by a lot of people when Mumbai players were like 5, 7, 8 players were representing India. I remember when I was growing up, the values like, I used to travel like 1.5, 2 hours at least in a train to reach to a practice session or for a match. The hard yards you go, the hardship you go through, that then pushes you that I've come this far. I need to, as a bowler, get 5 wicket, or as a batter, I need to get 100. That justifies the hard work which I've put in to reach to a destination. Because you are competing with 5 other who possibly are equally good, and then to overpower them or outperform them becomes a motivation for you. I remember Amol Muzumdar scored tons of runs before he got into Mumbai team. Wasim Jafar did the same thing. Jatin Paranspe did the same thing. Ramesh Pawar, Sairaj Bhautule, bold, got 5 first, 5 first, 5 first, 7 first. That's how they broke into. So when you break into Mumbai team, you are extremely confident of your job. This is exactly what is reflecting into the consistency of the Mumbai performances over the decades, how Mumbai has evolved, and why Mumbai is like 41, 42 time champions. The only expectation when you start the season in a Mumbai dressing room, the least expectation is to win the championship. That's how you start the season. Even if you reach the semi-finals, you've not done the justice this year.
Yeah.
It's insane. When you go into these situations, when you set the benchmark so high of the expectation, every single time, every match, every over you do, your intensity has to be right up there to live up to the expectations of others and your own. Now, Sarfaraz Khan is a classic example. He scored tons of runs and broke into Indian cricket team only on sheer performance of his. Hundreds, 200s, 300s. That's the appetite they have. They're never satisfied.
I just want to ask you about another Mumbai Indian cricketer who's kind of been so great and then slipped off the radar, Prithvi Shaw. If he's watching this, what's your kind of advice to him from one Mumbaiker to the next? Do you think it's temptations and distraction in this modern world? How could he get his groove back together and then back on the big stage for India?
He's a quality player. He's supremely talented. All what he needs to do, see, he's performing well. There are certain things which he just need to correct. I mean, he knows his game better than anybody else. He's performing consistently well for Mumbai also. You know, the guy who gets 100 in the first session of a Ranji Trophy, he knows his job. He's got a great talent. And he's done that consistently over the years for Mumbai. It's only the application part what Prithvi needs to correct. You know, a talent requires efforts, talent requires dedication, talent requires commitment. This is where he needs to alter himself to give justice to what he already has.
It's food for thought that. Let me just conclude this Mumbai chat by asking you a few things. One is, if you had to really make an all-time 11 Mumbai, right, across eras, you'll have some great names. Your Tendulkars instantly come to your mind. Maybe you can throw in a Vadekar there, Manjrekar, and even now, where you mentioned Sarfaraz and Prithvi Shaw. So if you had to put them in a batting order, sir.
If you start the history of Indian Mumbai cricket, you know, there's a lot of people, great names like Vadekar sir, Gavaskar sir, Dilip Vengsarkar sir, who walks into Mumbai team with distinction. Then there's Manjrekar, both father son, Vijay Manjrekar and Sanjay Manjrekar. Then great Vinu Mankad sir. You know, you have these legendary people who actually represented Mumbai. It's very difficult to form a 11 out of it. Then that's when you sometimes feel that the likes of Wasim Jafar and Amol Muzumdar, who are the highest run getters, may not find a place into Mumbai team because of the people who you are talking about. Then comes like Ramakant Achrekar sir, who was, you know, obviously champion. Then Paddy sir, Shivalkar sir, you know, such a legendary performer. Unfortunate for that he could not go on to play for India. And you have these kind of people. Then I would obviously have Abhi Kurvilla as a friend there, because he was a champion bowler according to me. Unfortunately, he could not play long enough for India. So you have these people who represented India with distinction. So it's very difficult to form that 11. But I listed out the names and I leave it to you to form that 11 for me.
Okay, those are the must-haves then, I'm guessing. Let me just play quickly devil's advocate for the next 2 minutes, okay? Don't shoot me. This is what generally the consensus is about Indian cricket fans in this country. When you say Mumbai cricketers have this certain lobbying, now take Rohit Sharma's example. He's a captain. He's been great for us, so on and so forth. Do you think certain Mumbai cricketers get away with it because you have the commentators on their side, like Sanjay Manjrekar, Sunil Gavaskar, saying all the right things, and then if it's a non-Mumbai Indian cricketer, it is just honestly tough for them. So how do you stand in this Mumbai lobbying episode?
I don't think it's a lobby. If there was a lobby, Mumbai should be at least having 5 to 7 players regularly in the Indian team, which is not the case. And those who are part of the Mumbai team, how will you replace them? You can't replace Rohit Sharma, right? So he walks into the Indian team. Then you have Yashasvi Jaiswal, who's performing so well right now. He walks into Indian team. You don't need somebody else to lobby for him. Then you have Sarfaraz Khan, who scored hundreds, 200s, and 300s. You don't need somebody else to advocate his performances. A lot of people have probably a concern that why this person is getting preferred. But it's happening with everybody. There is no such thing as lobby. There is one thing that you believe in this talent and you back that talent. It happened under everybody. When Ravi Shastri was head coach, then you would probably have seen Ajinkya Rahane was there, who was performing so well. But Rohit Sharma was in and out of the team. Why didn't people talk about that then at that point of time?
When you look at even the Indian cricket climate right now, every fan would normally just love comparing people, right? So the Virat Sachin comparisons there. And then when you talk about test captaincy, now it's like Rohit Sharma's captaincy has been compared to MS Dhoni's, which is compared to Virat Kohli's. Where do you stand in that? And if I have to put you on the spot again, who do you think is India's best ever test captain? You can't be sitting on the fence here.
I'll be honest and direct with you on these two things. According to me, what I played from what I saw, Saurav Ganguly and Rohit Sharma, I rate them at the top of it, especially purely because of the way they transform the culture in the dressing room. As a captain, as a leader, obviously the numbers of Mahendra Singh Dhoni are way too higher, but lot of credit goes to Saurav Ganguly for setting up a lot of processes and team combinations and practices. And Mahendra Singh Dhoni took it at another level. But when you see Rohit Sharma's contribution now, he changed the dynamics. We are going for wins. We are playing a different brand of cricket. He's backing
But wasn't
right
that Virat Kohli? Sorry, wasn't that Virat Kohli in terms of the fitness regime as well?
No. But Virat Kohli brought fitness levels into it as a habit. But Rohit Sharma got winning habit. So, if you see the previous 50-over World Cup, what Rohit did was he allowed Shubman Gill to settle by taking up a leadership role as a captain to play that aggressive in that first 10 overs. For me, that's a great sign of a leader. And when you speak and ask a question about a captain, what difference they brought on the table, this is what they brought on the table. And this is my submission. A captain who will lead from the front to get everybody is a skill which Saurav Ganguly, MS Dhoni and Rohit Sharma showed differently at different stages. And that's why I rate these two people bringing a different value and culture as a captain into Indian dressing room.
Okay. I just want to ask you, because you're such an old school lover of the game, a veteran, I'm pretty sure test match cricket is your cup of tea amidst all this IPL hullabaloo. How do you expect this current Indian test team to play test cricket? Often they kind of get into a safe spacing, intent bowl K, and they get out. But do you look at it differently, that openers are supposed to blunt the new ball and bide their time? Or do you think, look, cricket nowadays have evolved, so let's evolve with the times?
See, my point of submission is on two things. They will definitely miss the likes of Cheteshwar Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane, obviously, in this setup, especially when you're touring abroad, because, they give you a good stability in between. So India needs to soon find that piece solved quickly in terms of when you're touring overseas, especially in Australia right now. But when you're talking about current Indian approach to this test cricket, you see, Rishabh Pant playing those out of the thought as a bowler when I'm bowling to him. Thank God I'm retired also. They are playing a different brand of cricket. They are taking them head on. Sometimes it works in your favor. Few times it may not work in your favor. And that's when we need to support them as well.
Quick one from me then. BGT, what are your hopes, concerns, expectations? Do you think India can actually go do the unthinkable there?
I think India has got definitely the firepower. See, for an overseas series win, the most critical part for any team is to think about getting 20 wickets. And according to me, India has got the bowling depth to think about getting 20 wickets overseas. And if you think on that line, India will stand a very good chance in this particular series, especially when Bumrah is right at the top of his game. Siraj is there. And then you have the backup bowlers of Jadeja, Ashwin. I mean, they're the proven track record people you have. So that's something which even Australians must be planning their strategies as well.
Indeed, for sure. You mentioned Ashwin and Jadeja, Search, obviously coming to a time in their careers where it's a twilight phase. Throw me a few names who you think could be the next Ashwin and Jadeja in test match cricket for India.
It takes time. Even Ashwin, when he broke into Indian team, Harbhajan Singh was right at the top. He looked up to Harbhajan Singh. Right now, they've introduced Washington Sundar, supporting this thing. To fill those shoes is a huge task. There's no point comparing that. But there are a lot of people, youngsters like Kuldeep is doing really well now. Rohit Sharma really believes in backing Kuldeep Yadav. Akshar Patel is doing a decent job as an all-rounder also. And he's still got good couple of years for him. By the way, he started brilliantly for India as a left-arm spinner by getting those quick 30, 40, 50 wickets for India. In a couple of years' time, we'll obviously see slowly, gradually, a lot of youngsters, along with these, will probably be introduced to red ball cricket, especially in test cricket.
Yeah, food for thought and hopefully words to live by. We'll go into the IISM chat right now because I can't wait to ask you about how you've just created this brainchild. Can you just give us a little insight of how you had this vision to create an institute of sports management in a country like India? How did you manage to kind of stumble upon this idea and then take it from there? If the IPL happened in your life, would you still have the IISM?
Possibly not. Possibly not. Because, it's only I did not get an IPL contract. I started thinking about what my fallback option is. And that's when me and my wife actually went to watch a match at DY Patil. And we
And
were
which game
watching,
was this?
I think it was one of the semi-finals, if I'm not wrong. And I saw a lot of foreigners managing the event of IPL. So I happened to ask a question to my wife, like, what's this? What is this scene all about? Because I traveled a lot to England to play club cricket and minor counties and other stuff there. And, you could see a lot of professionalism there in terms of watching a football match or a match at the Lords and the Ovals, and you go to Wimbledon. You see a lot of structured approaches towards these big events. And the answer was that she said that India does not have a professional approach towards these things. That's when we started doing a lot of backtracking thoughts, when we realized the worldwide business of sport revolves around sports annual properties.
Yeah.
And in form of IPL, India got its first big scale sporting annual property. And that's how the business of sport and the science of sport culture started seeping into India. That's when India needed foreigners to manage those scales who understood that particular space of the management, marketing, operations side of it. And that allowed us to think like, look, this is a concept which actually India needs. So we traveled to Europe, we traveled to Middle East, we traveled to Southeast Asia to understand how the education side of business of sport operates. For us, we had
But
to travel.
just to the people watching this, what kind of jobs were you looking at thinking, I could probably get this sorted for kids out there?
So start with, obviously operations, marketing, event management, sales, sponsorships. These were the jobs which were worldwide established credentials. Those defined job descriptions were there. So we wanted to bring those concepts into India. When IPL got introduced, the corporate culture came into it, but the professionalism to understand sports and business both was a missing gap. We wanted to fill those things. We created content because there was no reference points in India. All the authors who wrote the book in sports, business, and science were all foreign authors with their foreign references. When you teach about 4Ps, the standard 4P references are Nokia theories. We started replacing that with IPL and EPL theories. So a lot of our students started relating because there was a sporting reference to all the management, marketing, science references.
Growing up in your culture, sir, parents were obviously downplaying sports, let alone sports jobs. So now, is that the hardest part of your job as an IISM founder, talking to parents and giving them conviction that your child will make it big?
So what happens is a lot of people ask me this question. Their worry is, oh, where will they get a job? How will they get a job? And is this a career? So I always have this answer. Just to give you statistics for your reference also, in IPL, there are more than 30 to 35,000 people get engaged to work. And this I'm talking about behind the scene. So now careers are getting defined and more channelized for every aspiring professional who dream of playing sport, do not end up representing India, can still be associated with sport. There are avenues which actually now become a full-fledged path. This is only in sports.
Which is absolutely brilliant. And I resonate so much with it. For other people out there right now, sport is obviously the first love. But what are the pitfalls even after you take up a course in IISM, if you have to kind of put it that way?
Well, there'll always be a challenge. And if you're good at it, you will obviously scale high. But if you're not so good at it, you probably have to go the hard yards. And there's no point for being frustrated. I always say this to all my students and those who, listen to me. I said, I love my Mondays. After retirement, I hate my Sunday because I can't come to office. I love this job. And if you start loving it, then it doesn't become a boring thing for you. You're making a career in a liked and loved field. And then your Mondays are like fun Mondays. Your Mondays are not, there are challenges, there are hurdles, but the growth pattern, if you are good at your performance and your job roles, you will definitely stand out.
And the IISM aspect of it is almost a beacon of light right now for all the other sports management universities in the country. I just want to finish off with the IISM on probably the best accolade you've received because it came from the president. Can you just shed light on that?
Well, I mean, the president of India is the person where all of us as Indians look up to. And to receive a recognition and award by the president of India, is the high point of all my students, all my faculties, all our partners, all our associates. Me and my wife received this on behalf of them. This is the contribution of all the students, all the professors, faculties, all the associates, partners who believed in our concept. Is actually a recognition to all of them. For me, after getting my cap to play for India, this is the second high point of my life to receive a recognition by the President of India.
And then the third being Atupatu.
Well, obviously, that's icing on the cake.
That is the icing on the cake. You've taken a lot of quick singles in your life as a tail ender. So there's a lot of quick questions I want to ask you just to wrap up in the interest of time. So let me just quickly ask you a word to describe your business and life partner the best, because she's been your pillar of strength. What is the one underrated quality about her and your journey?
She's the backbone of me personally as a husband, and she's the backbone of IISM for us to sail through all the storms and the good things in our lives.
Okay. If you played the IPL, would the IISM been born? I kind of asked you that earlier. Honestly, tell me.
Possibly not, because I would have been busy playing IPL, and then I would have been happy with the kind of money and acceptance I got. But the stories are created when you're pushed in the corner, and I think ISM is one such story when we were pushed in the corner.
Okay. You've, of course, won 7 Ranji trophies, sir. What was it like in your day compared to what it is today, and what is the future like in that tournament?
Well, I mean, obviously, Ranji Trophy is the great backbone of Indian cricket, to churn out quality talent, polish them, nurture them, mentor them, guide them to be completely India ready.
Okay. And an untold story about Sachin Tendulkar. You've given plenty in your time to various outlets. I'm pretty sure you've had a meal with him. You've had some spicy missile and marmalade. I don't know. You can tell me all the stuff that we need to know about the God.
Not many people will know that he remembers every dismissal of his. He remembers most of the shots of his. He remembers every wicket of his. He will remember the competition, the match, the opponent where he has done performances or he's got out, or the umpire who's given him out. He will remember. For me, that's the greatest thing about Sachin Tendulkar over and above what he has achieved in his life.
Finally, how well do you know your career? Now, the other record holders, what you achieved, can you name me 5 guys who've taken a first ball wicket in tests?
The recent one is Shimar Joseph. Then obviously there's that's a tricky one.
Australia's current spinner.
Nathan Lyon.
Yeah, he got some cut out. There was
Richard Ellingworth as well. So, I mean, in the history of, I think, some 25 people have taken first ball wicket in Test cricket, and only the Indian is me.
Yes, brilliant. And finally, your final game professionally was in my hometown, Bengaluru. True or false?
Yes.
You remember the game?
Yes.
Air India?
Yes, I remember the game. That was my final game at the famous stadium, obviously. And it was a wonderful match. I still remember I got that left-hander out at the long off. I forget the name. I got him out at long off. He went to hit me of 6. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one.
No, absolutely. You remember it, like you said, elephant memory. And finally, you played against 2 umpires in the current ICC panel. Who are they?
Current ICC panel?
Yeah. You got one out.
Nitin Menon and I keep forgetting his name.
You have to tell me.
Anant Padmanabhan.
Yes. And this international ones you played against, I think you played against Dharmasena. I think you played against Hassan as well. You got him out as well.
Oh, you're talking about international as well. I was talking about India. Yeah. Obviously, Kumar I played against. A lot of cricket I played against this. And Hassan has started doing umpiring as well.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Look, sir, it's been a great privilege for me to unwind with you. It's been fantastic. A final word from you. And can you also tell all our viewers to not just subscribe and like this, but to hit you up at the IISM where they can actually make a career out of their living?
Absolutely. I think I always use this one line. If you know your strength, that's your asset. But if you know your weakness, that's your strength. Please follow your passion and your dream. and enjoy your journey as well. But make sure that you subscribe this channel, you like and subscribe, and please follow IISM website and honestly give us your feedbacks, whether if you're doing something right or whether we are not doing something right. Your feedbacks will be genuinely welcome for us to correct, better, improve, and deliver what is expected.
I think you've summed it up like an absolute professional. We love you for that, and we love all the interaction that we've done with you this particular unwind. Thanks so much, guys. And of course, check out cricket.com for more content. Till the next time, it's a goodbye from me. I definitely want to eat something Marathi right now.
Staying here. Thank you very much.